Hi there. It's the Tuesday tune-in, which is an opportunity each week to tune in on a different topic and see what might come up for you. I was chatting with some friends about this last night and it comes up all the time, so I thought I might dig into this topic of courage and why it might be a little bit overwhelming. If we look at the people that we admire and that have made a big change in their life, it might seem like you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It might seem like you need a rapid change all at once in order to step in the direction of your dreams. So that's what I mean with the idea that courage might be overwhelming. So it's like I need to change everything and make a huge leap in order to be courageous. That overwhelm, I think, can send us in a downward spiral. Hi, Ali. So glad you're here. Because if we get stuck in the all or nothing, the concept of, and I really remember this for myself as well, being like, oh, I'm going to change my health and I'm going to start meditating and I'm going to change my job and I'm going to, seek relationships that I want in my life. The concept of changing all those things at once and taking a massive leap, something that might really hurt, is really overwhelming. So I just want to break that down a bit. What happens when we get overwhelmed is that we start to have those thoughts around, I'm not good enough. I'm not brave enough to make those choices and to do those really hard, big things. And then we start to retreat. Has anyone had that feeling? You sort of like, you pull right back and you go into a little hovel and maybe you don't do anything. It's so overwhelming that you could fail. And then the other side of that is that you are so overwhelmed because you know that there's more for you. You know there is a bigger thing. You've had a spark, you've had a little sense of it. And because you know there's more for you, and at this time you don't have whatever it is you need to go and get it, then you start to feel guilt and you start to feel shame. And shame is our worst enemy. Shame, it crumples us down and it separates us from other people. This is something I'll talk about in a different topic, but the way to deal with shame is to have a conversation. Shame really hates connection and vulnerability. And I highly recommend Brené Brown on that topic. She is an absolute master about this shame and vulnerability. But what I want you to think about is getting rid of this notion that to be courageous, we have to make huge, big leaps, okay? Let's get rid of that, because that may lead to pressure and overwhelm and then the shame spiral and then down at the bottom again. So what I would love for you to think about is how you can make really small mini leaps of courage. And there are so many different ways you can do this. I recommend a daily practice of some kind. So in some of the other programs that I have run, we've talked about morning meditation, affirmations, exercise, journal writing, reflective writing. But really, it's whatever it is that makes you feel good. So if you were to reflect back on when you were a child even, or when you were in a really good time in your life, what was it that you did in that time that enabled you to feel really good? Start with that thing. It doesn't matter if it's skipping, like with a jump rope in the backyard. Just do that thing. And sometimes that might feel like this isn't making a difference. It's not taking me in the direction of this, big career goal that I have, or, these dreams that I want to achieve. It doesn't feel like it connects. But you're opening up the possibility that you can have joy and that you can improve in really tiny little pinpoint moves. The other thing to remember is that this is a journey. Our life is a journey, and this is so comforting to me. There is no point at which you arrive and then you're sorted. It's like we're constantly growing and learning and evolving, and no matter where you are, there's joy, there's gratitude, there's always something you can be doing. And when we release the idea that there's a fixed point that we need to get to, then it all feels a lot lighter. It all feels a lot easier. It feels like I can do this just one day at a time. Hi, Tim. Hi, Alyssa. Because it's all within our power. And really, doesn't everything we do happen just in moments? We spend a lot of time thinking about the past and a lot of time thinking about the future, and maybe one of those is stronger for you. Have a think about that. But realistically, where do we live our lives? It's in the present moment. We only can move forward in tiny moments. So if that's the way life really plays out in moments, we can really only be courageous in tiny steps. That's the only way it works. So maybe your courage is about, having a conversation with someone at work about a tricky topic. So at any given time, you're just going to take a little step towards that. So you're going to get dressed and go to work and, put on your confident outfit and do your power pose. That's a tiny little leap. You might listen to some really uplifting music on the way to work. That's another tiny little leap. You're going to go in, you're going to settle at your desk. That's a tiny little leap. You're going to call this person and say, can we please have a meeting today? That's a tiny little leap. And then in that conversation, there'll be a point where you need to be more vulnerable. You need to step up and say the thing that you need to. That is a tiny little leap of courage. So when you add all these little things up together, you get a big leap. You start to get changes in your life. And that's literally how it happens. So if you're not sure where to start, one, know that it can happen in the smallest little chunks. And two, just start with doing the things that you love. All of the goodness lies in that. Do the things that make you feel joyful and don't worry about the outcomes of how you're going to get to the place. This is really about being present. And I wish that for every person that I ever meet, just to have those moments of joy, because that's the key. That's where you unlock it all. Okay, I am absolutely rambling, so I'm going to go. Thank you for tuning in to Tuesday Tune In, and I hope you have the opportunity to do that for yourself, and I'll see you next week.